We are with Steve from Trey. You guys have been hiding something on me the longest time, and I'm so mad at you guys. You guys have an access control panel that's phenomenally inexpensive.
Yeah.
There's no monthly fees.
No.
And it comes with 2 doors right out of the box that you don't have to pay to activate.
Correct.
All right, so tell me about your access control panel, the housing, the LEDs, all this stuff. I love this thing.
This is what we call our Defender panel. It's a 2-door panel. It's IP based. It will hold up to 20,000 users. It has a buffer that it'll actually hold up to 100,000 transactions for reporting capability. It supports 4 readers, 2 in, 2 out. It has REX input, which is a request to exit input for both ports. There's an A and a B port. It also has door position for open or closed. It can support mag locks. The outputs on the relays are normally closed or normally open with a common in the center, and you can run the power through that. This comes with a 3 amp, 12 volt power supply that's filtered and regulated. It's actually behind the panel inside of this enclosure. The enclosure itself is an IP65 rated enclosure. The panel is mounted on a swing panel. So you take these 2 thumb screws, unscrew those once your cover's open, and you can actually swing this out to where it makes your installation very easy. Plus, all of your terminal strips, you can unplug those. Make your terminations, stick them through the outlet holes that we have, plug them right into the board.
Is the depth of that housing just for that power supply, or can you put batteries in there?
You can actually put like a 7.2 amp hour battery in there. We wanted to have enough depth that you could put a few things in it.
I like the choice of the clear cover.
We did that on purpose. Most of your panels you'll see commercially today, they're all the same color and they're opaque, so you can't see through them. So you literally have to open them up just to see what's happening, and that leads us to all the LEDs that we have. We have LEDs down here that are flashing for the network side. That tells you that you're sending and receiving your data. Then you've got transactional LEDs, the top one being your power. Then you have one that's green that's flashing. That's basically what they call the heartbeat, which means the panel is kind of looking at itself, and that's its self-diagnosis and everything's in a good state, which is just a transaction output. As it reads an active credential, it shows you that that came. Now, if it doesn't do anything, if it has no output, it shows you it read it, but because these bottom 2, which are tied to the relays, those didn't activate. So that tells me that the system says that tag doesn't have output access, because those will only flash when there's an output to the relay.
That's an important thing. In transactions, will it show credential level, and will it show whether it's actually even in the system at all?
Well, yes, it will show it like it does on the screen here, and it color codes it in the software. If it's green, it'll tell you allowable access, and it actually gives you a description of what the credential is, but now that's based on what you put in. So if you put in good data, it's going to also give you out good data. If it's not, it tells you that the access has been denied. It tells you the time, and it tells you because you have no privileges.
Okay.
So it timestamps it too.
I don't know why there's some manufacturers that if it's an unknown card, it won't show it. And for diagnostic purposes, you can't do anything with it.
For the same reason you just said, that it was necessary, because that can also be a trend. You can see a trend from that. The security guard could. That if that card keeps popping up as being invalid, that tells him that someone's running around with a bad credential trying to get in the property. So it gives them an idea that there's something else going on.
I want to get into the software a little bit more, but us gate operator guys and access control guys, on a certain level, when we don't regularly deal with like 100 doors,
right?
We don't necessarily get into IP-based products and things of that nature that are a little bit more sophisticated. What capabilities as far as connectivity does this have to the network? And then how hard is it to set up? So I don't want something that's hard to set up.
It's only IP based. So you have to be on a network, or you have to be hooked up through the network connection to a laptop. It's actually pretty simple, because there's 2 methods of hooking it up. You'll find in the software that it will say there is a small network and there's a large network. With a small network, anybody can set it up that has no prior network knowledge, because It has a spot where you put the serial number of the board. Every board comes with a serial number. You put that serial number in the software, it finds the board. You're hooked up instantaneously. You don't have to know IP addresses, none of that. That is for if you have a small building and it's internal where they don't have to monitor it from off-site. They just want to do it internally. That's the way to set it up. And you could have a dozen, you could have 30 of these panels. It wouldn't matter.
Just as long as you're connected to the network.
And you're in that internal network. The software is going to go through a list of all your controllers because it's going to have them, you know, in order that you put them in. Your database becomes a distributed database then. It has options in here where you can tell it what panels to send the information to.
That brings me to the software. So what am I paying for the software? What am I paying to access the doors?
That's a nice thing about it, because currently we don't charge for the software. It's a free download from our website. There's a quick start guide that we have for it, and it's only one page to get started. It's very, very simple to do. They can get up and running in 10-15 minutes.
So will you do me a favor and authorize a credential and then explain to me what we actually have going on?
If you want to do that, you'll go to the personnel section. And the easiest thing, you know, these are all credentials that have been already put in, and they're active as an access control. And it also has a deactivate date. So sometime, you know, after December 31st in the year 2050, these will all go inactive. The easiest way to do it is this command here is by reader. You'll have to select it, but this is the only controller that's active. So you'll simply go and you'll hit OK. So then you'll take a credential like this and simply put it up in front of the reader, and it's just read it. Now it read my tag already, but it's going to tell you that one of them is already in there. That's my credential. It's already in there, but because I was close enough, it read them both. So now you're going to say OK, and it's actually in this group. Next thing to do is you want to check all these off, because you're going to batch load everything up. You're going to make sure that your deactivate date is down the road, and you're going to tell it OK. Next thing you're going to do is simply go over here to the access privilege, and you're going to want to make this card active. So I'm going to go down the list, and I'm going to find this credential, which is right here, and highlight it and hit this, and it's just going to send that one credential over. This is who I selected.
Okay.
I want this to go to both ports so that all 4 readers will read it. This is port 1, which is A and B reader, and then port 2 is A and B reader. So what I'll do is I can do these one at a time, or if I want to do them both, I just click this with the double arrows. It brings them both over. Next thing I do is just simply go over here, and I want it to update the selected doors and the users and upload it. I'll tell it yes. It simply goes through this process. It tells you it's added those. Then all you do is get out. And then you go back to the monitor section. You want to monitor both doors, so you can either click a door, or you do it the easy way, just say select all, and you click on monitor, and now I can take this card, and you notice it's there.
And hit your card again, because I noticed what was interesting about it is it has a picture.
That's another feature, that if you import a picture of the user under their credential, anytime they use it, it will show up. So let's say that a security guard, they have a manned booth. That's a nice resort, let's say, and they want to make sure that who's coming in is who they say they are. People can pass their cards around, but I come in, I use my card, it shows my picture. They know that I'm okay, and they know that that's me.
One of the things I think is really interesting is you kept the LEDs on the board old school, so I can actually see them from 10 feet away and know that that's what there's no surface mount.
Well, and again,
so can you hit the short range and the long range reader so we can actually see what happens? Yeah, so there you go. Not only does it tell me that it sees a credential, it tells me that the credential is valid, and then it shows that it fired the relay.
Correct.
And then at any point in time, I can look at it from 20 feet away and know my network's good, and
Correct.
know that the control board's good, right?
That's correct. We think that's a huge tool for the average installer, because let's say he gets on the phone, his user calls him up and says, hey, I got something going on. Well, then he can actually literally walk them out to their panel. They don't have to open it up. They just walk up to it, and he can say, okay, tell me what lights are on and tell me what they're doing. And a lot of times he can diagnose things over the phone with us.
Especially network connectivity. You don't have to pay for an extra
Right.
device to even see what
Right.
you've got network.
But nice thing about this is you can unhook it from the network, and because of its database, it resides in its own memory. It will function. You have a cable outage or something like that where your internet goes out, these will continue to function with
Still
the data
record
that's in them.
and it'll record
Absolutely.
transactions as well,
Absolutely.
too. So I think that that's neat. These guys have got to go to their distributor right now and find out the price point, because once they see it, they're not going to believe it. So
Yeah.
we'll send, so SAS, Southwest Automated Security, Control Products,
Yep.
but you have to go through a distributor to do it.
They should, yes.
And what city are you guys manufacturing this in? What country
Well-
are you manufacturing, and what's your warranty?
Well, all of our readers are USA based. We're 100% USA company.
What's the warranty on the readers and the access control?
Everything's a year.
Okay. Real quickly, I don't believe it. I'm gonna get it out in the field and test this out. But you're telling me the short range readers give me 1 to 7 feet.
Yeah, it's adjustable though.
Gotcha.
To the software. You
so
can.
y'all in here in the show, you just do a couple feet. You're at 4 feet. 3
Something like that. You have a fair amount of interference here in the show. We think that's actually pretty good. You get out in the free air, and you're gonna see 7. You could see more.
Really, in a single lane, you don't need 5,500 feet. You just need.
Well,
you just
a lot of
close
times
proximity.
people don't have the budget for one of the long range readers,
Yeah.
but they could afford this. And then what they would use, this is a windshield headlamp tag. So this could go on the windshield or the headlamp. Well, think about it. On a car, your headlamp's about this high. If I stand back and you look at the relationship on the height to where this reader is, you could use a low priced reader with that, have a very economical system, and it would read the car as it comes through. So there's a lot of things you can do. Now, they're not high speed readers. The vehicle does have to slow down. Sometimes they'll want to just pause, but then they can go on.
Steve, the tags that you have here, am I buying these through Trey or these third-party tags?
No, they're ours, and we program everything in-house.
And what about printing and custom makes and all that? What's the turnaround time for that?
If it's our off-the-shelf, 72 hours, we can turn around most orders. If it is a custom printed job, then it could take 6 weeks. If they have higher quantities, like if it's 1,000 units or more, which is not uncommon,
No.
we don't charge. We can actually do up to 4-color printing at no extra charge. So in other words,
Depending upon quantity.
if the facility, they want their own logo on it or something like that, which we have a lot of clients that want that. We can do that just like this one. We can do the custom printing and provide that at no extra charge when it's 1,000 or higher.
Steve, I appreciate you telling us that. I got a feeling you need to call SAS and Control Products and tell them to buy another 10 or 15 more and keep them in
They
stock.
ought to.
Because once they find out how inexpensive it is, and there's no monthly charge, and the software's for free, and updated for free.
It's a pretty good bargain.
It's not bad, and that's speaking from somebody who requires a minimum. We'll warranty it past what your warranty is.
Sure.
So we do 3 years, over 3-year warranty. So if it's not quality, we're not going to put it in, because I can't take the hit on year 2 if something goes
Understood,
down.
yeah.
So I really respect the effort that you put into it, but more importantly, I'm not paying monthly for something.
One little side note.
And both ways work. I'm not against the RMR, but both ways work. But this
Right.
has its own market.
Well, as an added plus to this, in the software when they install it, they actually have an Excel template that they could build their database before they ever load it up, and they take that file and simply put it in the program, and they can have the database pre-built, really.
Cool. Steve from Trey, I appreciate it. Thank you for all the information. And those access control panels are going to sell out. I guarantee it. And also the price point on the short range reader. I don't think people realize that those are out there. But now that they see it, I think they'll like it. All right. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it.